per usual. Today we're going to look at Tal games because it's his turn. And like that, and so forth. Mainly and so forth. Yeah. I'll wait a few minutes because Amazon doesn't have enough money to make Twitch work right. Hopefully you just watched Karen's stream. I begged her to raid me, but she wouldn't do it. So I guess I'll have to raid her later. Exactly. Well, let's check the emails while you guys are not watching. If you are watching, which you're not, I just scheduled 9 videos that I've made over the last 7 weeks on my YouTube channel. 2 of them came out today, 2 tomorrow, 1 on Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, and then I'm actually caught up. Although after making this video, then I won't be caught up. So you see what I'm saying. So this is video 3 in my series of 7 consecutive videos, 9:30 p.m. on the week nights. Guess any night. And we did, about 5 nights ago, I did a Kasparov lecture. And then 2 nights ago, I did a Fischer lecture. And then last night, I did a Karpov lecture. And tonight is Mikhail Tal. Hey, everybody. I'll refresh because then I can see how many people are watching. Yay, 13. That's pretty good. It's almost as many as Karen, but not quite. Go Ben is correct. Yeah. No, this is a Tal Baron lecture. In fact, his games are even more accurate than Mikhail Tal's due to his decades of cheating. Although I think he wasn't as cheating as much as Rouse's. It's too bad. I'm trying to think of grandmasters who haven't cheated, and that's a shorter list. So, anyway, I guess there's a lot of cheating. Seems like players don't play very well today, but if they cheat, they play better. That's one way to play better. You could just lose like me. That would be better. Is this a game from the Tal Memorial? It is not. Did he cheat? It is up to you. Correct. If it's up to me, then the answer is yes. Is Tal good? Well, when he was alive, he was pretty good. Naka never cheated? Well, Naka tried to cheat, but he wasn't able to. When he was playing Aronian, he touched his king and then tried not to move it, and then it was on video, and I mean, Aronian's like, no, you touched your king. And he's like, all right. And then after the fact, he said, I touched it and I didn't touch it. Yeah, so. And Kasparov's cheated at least twice in the touch move. As far, they're not cheating like using an engine, but they're just not playing by the rules. Just touching things and trying to move something else. That's not the way to behave at the top level. So, is Tal better than Carlsen? Well, I should say so. Tal was the world champion in the early 60s. And then in 1979, when he was like on his deathbed, he tied for first in Montreal with Karpov. And then in 1988, when he literally was on his deathbed, but not really, he was the world blitz champion ahead of Kasparov and Karpov. So obviously, Tal's better than Carlsen. Tal was great. Yeah. No, obviously, computer cheating. You didn't say that Nakamura didn't cheat with computers. You said he didn't cheat. That's different. Yeah. Naka has been in a relationship, or at least he thought he was. So that's, he's engaged. Confusing his fiance. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, they're all cheating. So that's important. All right. Now, somebody who didn't cheat was Mikhail Tal. And what's funny is one of my favorite Tal games, if not my favorite, is this game, which was played in a simultaneous exhibition. Now, first of all, I want to try to do something and see what happens. Let's see what happens when I do this. Okay, good. It doesn't go to it, so I can cheat. Awesome. Don't tell Karen. Tal was short, but short was tall. You're stealing my lines. Yeah. Where have you Sean been? Well, Why don't you have many videos on Tal Botvinnik? All right. $9.99 for R.A. Kelly. I lied earlier. Thank you, R.A. Kelly. Maybe you were just telling an untruth and you changed your mind. Varvados just subscribed. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I am well. Tourney anytime soon? Maybe in a week. Yeah. All right, let's look at some Tal games. We have 105 viewers. That's about 150 less than I usually have. That's pretty good. So this game was played in a simultaneous exhibition. Tal was white, as it indicates. And his opponent thought that Tal was a pretty poor tactician, so we might as well play the dragon. Now, if you've been following my stream, we'll get to this position. When was the last time I showed this position on my stream? Which two grandmasters were playing? Maybe Karen knows. I know Trying to Learn knows, frankly. Let's see. Last night, Karpov and Kasparov? No. You're fired. There we go. World of Maz got it correctly. Karpov Korchnoi. And that was in 1974. And their candidates matched to decide who would play Fischer. Right? Now, in that game, Karpov played bishop c4 before castling. And in this game, Tal castled. And usually, black would have castled already or could castle here. Bishop d7 is an inaccurate move. That's not a good idea because the one possible weakness of long castling for white as opposed to bishop c4 is we give black the option of playing d5. Well, if you play bishop d7, you can't play d5. You're blocking your queen. So by not being able to play d5, castles make sense because you're not. Okay, it's a simul, so his opponent's not 2800. Yeah. What a country is correct. Okay. Where's Tal ranked in my top 10 players of all time? Probably about 10. Yeah. Yeah. I was just on Karen's show. Sometimes when I watch ESPN at 4:30, 5 and 5:30, I see the same people on different shows. Yeah, it's amazing how television works. Right, Karen?
I missed the first part, but yeah.
Yeah, she says yeah. Okay, so he played Queen A5, and then Tal, well, Queen A5 is always a bad move in this variation because Knight B3 can happen. If you play Queen A5 in a Sicilian, and your opponent plays Knight B3, then you shouldn't have played Queen A5. Now, Tal probably realized Knight B3 was the right move, but he probably figured eventually Ben Finegold will be born and he will have a saying, so I better follow that. Tal was pretty good, right? And he played King B1, also good. Okay, Rook C8. And now, a lot of times when white plays H4, black plays H5, especially nowadays. So Tal played G4. Okay, so now there is no, All right. And black made a very bad move that I must say I've probably never seen in a dragon with the bishop on E3 and the queen on D2. Well, I guess I have seen it because here it is. H6. Ugh. I just ate. Okay, H4, and then black decided he would attack as slowly as possible, A6. Tal played bishop to E2, connecting his rooks. The bishop defends this, so we're ready to push all our pawns. Knight E5, G5, and don't blink because the game's almost over. Okay, now here material's equal, and nobody's really made a big threat until now. White played G5 attacking the knight. However, even though we've had almost no trades of material, there's been almost no threats. The engine says white is up 3 because white has a very strong attack and black does not. And even though black played the engine move, he still lost in 3 moves. Man, chess is hard. Rook H1 is also the engine move. Okay. Then the engine goes, wait, can I take that back? Okay. So obviously, if you remember when I gave the lecture with Karpov, one of the games that I showed was his game against Kasparov in a knight versus bishop ending. And in that game, which I showed yesterday, Kasparov made the losing move g takes h4. And instead of making the automatic recapture, instead, Karpov played knight g2, a very powerful move, probably found in a German analysis, I guess. Or if you're one of the kids who comes to my lectures and your parents say, what did you learn in Ben's lecture? They would say something like a German analysis, because they understand what I'm saying. Right, sweetie? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anyway, so with rook takes h1, which is a terrible move, the engine realizes eventually that's not a good move. Obviously, his opponent just thought he would automatically recapture, but this is one of Tal's greatest combinations, considering it was a simultaneous exhibition. If it was like 40 moves in 2 hours against a grandmaster, it'd be sort of obvious for him. But you're walking around a simul, you're not doing deep analysis. G takes f6. Now, the only possible reason G takes f6 could be bad is because of rook takes d1 check. If black doesn't play rook takes d1 check, then G takes f6 is good. Now, the engine doesn't play rook takes d1 check because it can calculate. The engine says rook h7 is the best move, and then after take, white's winning. But he did take this way, and this was the most surprising move of the game. Right, Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty surprising.
Okay. Right. Because white has 4 legal moves. I guess queen c1 would be the most surprising. But he played knight takes, which is a discovered attack on the queen. And the reason he did that is he wants to take this bishop and make a queen. But if white had recaptured one of the other 2 ways, black would just take on f6 and be winning. But now the queen is attacked, and we have to do something about that. He did the obvious thing, which is to take the queen, and another Zwischenzug from Mikhail Tal takes on g7. I like the way these pieces all defend each other. That's pretty cool. So in this position, Tal's opponent has a queen and a rook for a bishop and a knight. Normally, a queen and a rook is better than a bishop and a knight. But in this position, not only is black's queen attacked, but I'm going to queen with checkmate. If you don't like that, you could promote to a rook with checkmate. And the engine says, with perfect play, black is down 8 points. And actually, the best move according to the engine is bishop e6, which gives the king a flight square. And then we can just take the rook and take the queen, and we're up 2 pieces. Up 2 pieces is good. So after f takes g7, in this position, Tal's opponent resigned. So like the knight's defending the bishop, this knight's defending this bishop, the bishops are defending the knights, and the most important, I guess, is the knight's defending c2. Otherwise, queen takes c2 would be pretty good. Yeah. So queen takes c2 would be the winning move if the knight wasn't defending. There's no way to stop him from promoting, so black resigned. So for a simultaneous exhibition, this combination starting with gf6, knight d1, and fg7, that's pretty good calculation. Yeah. So that's, to me, that's like very interesting for the fans. Are you watching the stream or are you shoe shopping?
I'm watching this.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
And I was thinking about the question of why there are no YouTube videos.
Who has no YouTube videos?
They were asking why no YouTube videos. I was just thinking about
Who?
Blade Runner.
We're asking who has no YouTube videos? I put out 2 YouTube videos today. What?
I think they meant on the club channel.
I don't think so.
Oh.
What do I have to do with the club channel? It's my stream. Yeah, I think he just doesn't know how to go to YouTube and see this channel. Could somebody help him go to YouTube? Like maybe he can't spell it correctly.
Yeah.
That's my guess, because if you spell YouTube wrong, it might not go to it. And he didn't spell YouTube, so I'm guessing that's what the problem is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll notice I put 2 videos up today, 2 tomorrow, 1 Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, as I already said. And there's over 200 videos on that channel, and it has over 45,000 followers or subscribers. So, yeah, I think that's maybe not correct. Yeah. All right. And then Black resigned like a grandmaster, although he wasn't a grandmaster. So, okay, that's a good Tal game. I like that game. Let's look at some more Tal games. Shan't we? Let's go back in time. Let's look at an old Tal game. But I want it to be pretty quick. I don't want no, 50 move game in my stream. It's too much for you guys. Let's make it somebody you've heard of. Okay, you never heard of that guy. I haven't heard of that guy. I've heard of everybody. Man. What? That guy's no good. You guys can donate while I'm looking for a game. Soccer Kevin T just subscribed. Thank you. All right. You guys heard of Fischer. So let's look at the game. Tal beat Fischer in 1959. That sounds like a good. Also, I've never seen this game. I don't know why I haven't seen this game before. So 1959, Karen, how old was Fischer?
I don't know.
He turned 16.
Oh, yeah, you just asked that yesterday.
Yeah, well, he was born March 9th, 1943. It's common knowledge. Let's see what else you know. Which person equally and or more famous than Fischer? I would say less famous, but you would say much more famous. But I would say less famous. You'd say it's much more famous.
Really?
Went to high school with Fischer.
Oh, but not a chess player?
No.
Let's see, he was born in 43.
Well, I didn't say they were born in 43. I just said they went to high school with Fischer.
Um,
Could have been born in 43. We've been talking about this person lately, too. Mentioned her a couple times. It's a her. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Somebody said Cardi B, which was obviously wrong. So the next person said Cardi C. Because, yeah. Also, how come the people in the chat don't know? How do you guys not know this? You don't know the most famous person who went to high school with Fischer? Are you serious? Wow. So you guys actually don't know? Do you guys know anything? There's hundreds of you. One of you should know. Ugh. Beyonce, come on.
You told me to.
Yeah, the correct answer, which nobody has yet, most of the answers are jokes. Yeah. Betty White. The correct answer is Barbara Streisand. And they interviewed her. They asked her about him. She said he was crazy like Fox News. All right.
She said that?
No, she said he was a weirdo. Okay, so, yeah, good old Babs. Jesus is also a close answer. Right. This guy said Fokker's mom. That's correct. No. She's not more famous than Fischer, LOL. Let's ask Karen what her opinion is.
Worldwide or?
Yeah. Tough, yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
That is close. Normally what I do is I look at the Wikipedia page and see how long it is. And Fisher's, I never looked at Barbara's because who would do that? But it says like she's, that's a terrible nose. 10 pages of that. But Fisher's is pretty long. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I already said the answer, and they're still guessing wrong. All right, so this is Tal versus Fischer. And Tal's white. This is 1959. And this was a King's Indian. Fischer liked to play the King's Indian. Okay. And we looked at this position also recently, as in the game Jeroen Piquet versus Kasparov, which started this way also. Now let's see if anybody in the chat remembers what was the final move of that game. Jeroen Piquet versus Kasparov. What was the last move? Very good. Sharingan, knight h1. Correct. Very good. Now, the most common move is castles, although there are other moves. And Tal played another move, d5. And he actually played a variation championed by the Armenian world champion Tigran Petrosyan. After knight bd7, he played bishop g5. And the idea is to keep the bishop here so it's hard to play f5. That's the idea. Now, of course, if black wants to play queen e8 and then move the knight and then play f5, that's actually what he did. Problem is if you play queen e8 and I play knight b5, you're going to play queen d8. So Fischer played a6, and now he can play the plan that I espoused. And that's what happened. Okay? And Tal obviously played knight to d2. You defend the pawn some more. In case of f5, you can play f3 so your bishop doesn't get trapped. You can go to f2. And when you play c5, later in the game, your knight has c4. So knight d2 is a very common move. b4. And now Fischer played a move I don't like. Now Fischer did lose, so maybe I'm right. Bishop f6. I'm not a fan of that move. No. Okay, takes. Knight b3. And black's trying to win on the king's side, which he's not doing. And white's trying to win on the queen's side, which he is doing. So white has a big advantage here. Knight g8, he wants to play f5, and he does. Okay, good. Now I have a rule. Let's see if either Archer or Karen knows the rule. When black plays f5, what should white play? Good answers. The correct answer is e takes f5. It's one of my rules. And in this position, Fischer played f5, so Tal played e takes f5. Okay. Now, if you take with the rook, or as Christian Kalula would say, the rook is on fire, then you're giving away the e4 square, bishop d3, knight e4, etc. So he takes with the pawn. Now the pawns want to move, so you play f4, blocking the pawn. The problem is, if this pawn stays here forever, which it will, that's not good for this bishop. And if the bishop doesn't move, that's not good for the rook. So this position is very bad for black. So Fischer took, trying to get some action going. And then he took again. D takes c5. And problem is, black's position doesn't make a lot of sense now. There's a lot of opening up of the center, and black's pieces are ridiculous. King is exposed. So Tal just played bishop d3, and then rook e1. And I mean, obviously, this is terrible for black. C takes b4, very greedy. Rook e6, sacrificing a piece. I mean, he's tall. Now, the engine doesn't take the piece. It plays queen g7, allowing bishop f5 check, and it says Tal's winning. But Fischer figured if he's going to lose, he might as well be up a piece. But man, is he losing. There's losing and there's losing. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. So after king h8, rook h6 is checkmate. So for example, mate. So if you play king g7, which he also didn't play, we play rook g6 check. King h8 is the same mate I just showed you. King f7. Bishop anywhere check wins. The engine wants to play queen e4, threatening queen e6 mate. Also good. Bishop d3 is also plus 10. It's check. And then we check. And, there's good and there's not good. This is not good. Okay, and the king is just getting checkmated. All right, so Fischer correctly sacrificed the exchange. He's already up a piece. And play king h8. That's the good news, is he's not getting mated immediately. The bad news is he's totally crushed. Now, chess is a difficult game, so even when you're completely winning, it's easy to not win. And in this position, shockingly, there's only one winning move. White has one move that wins. If he doesn't play it, it's equal. Of course, Tal did play the move because this is a Tal lecture. Okay? And this is a Morphy special. And what I mean is, Tal needs to use all of his pieces to attack. His queen's doing a pretty good job. His rook's doing a pretty good job. But his knight and rook aren't really doing anything. Unfortunately, he cannot get his knight into the game at this moment. But he can get his rook into the game. So somebody try to guess what move Tal played in this position. Somebody already gave the correct answer. MC Jurgel, not Mick Jurgel. Rook F3. And the queen can't go to the back rank and give check because those are all covered. That's the knight and the rook. And now here comes the white rook and rar and etc. And unfortunately, well, I mean, the only square to defend the king is G7, and he played queen B2. If you go to G7 to keep it near the king, then rook G3 gains a tempo, and the queen's virtually trapped. So the engine actually sacrifices the queen and plays knight here, but it says white's winning. But he played queen B2, which is not a good move. And once again, Tal played the best move, rook to E8. And there's an infinite number of threats. Rook G3 is winning, rook takes knight is winning, queen G6 is winning, etc. is winning. Okay, Fischer played the best move, knight F6. And now white trades into a winning endgame by winning a piece. If you're taking notes, winning a piece is good. Now you may have noticed I said knight F6 instead of saying knight D to F6. And the reason is the other knight can't go to F6. Well, if the knight can't go to F6, then we can just take it, which is what Tal did. So Fischer didn't get mated, but he's down the exchange and he's totally dominated. I haven't seen anybody dominated like this since earlier today when Karen called me up. Oh, wait, I can't talk about that. Okay, so we were playing chess. All right, so Fischer didn't want to be pinned, and also rook F8 and rook G6 are annoying, so he played king G7. And then we'll ask Archer, what did white do on the bubble up? Doubled up. Rook, man. So you guys are big Carlsen fans, and then this is how Tal does it. I told people Mikhail beat Fischer like a baby, and they told me it was a tall tale. They were right. I told that joke to Karen once. She gave me short shrift. Right? She says yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you were at a chess tournament and you were like walking around during the round and you saw this position, you would think, man, white's a pretty good player and black's not a good player. I mean, Fischer was a candidate for the world championship in 1959, and he had been U.S. champion more than once. So maybe Fischer was good. But this game, he doesn't look very good. The King's Indian, black is supposed to get an attack, but that didn't happen this game. Now, most people would resign, but some people don't like to resign. So the only move to not resign is knight e7, confusing the audience. That saves all of black's pieces. Knight a5, and he just zugzwangs them. He's like, you can't move, which is true. Okay, and then enough is enough. Is enough. Who sings that? Yeah. I don't know either. We're old and we don't know. They're not going to know. They have the internet, so they could look it up. Yeah, I know. I mean, they could just say anything and I would believe them. I don't know.
That's not a very good song.
Well, it's true.
But,
Yeah, that's the beatdown of the century. Notice rook f7 check is annoying. So yeah, you're gonna make a move here you don't like. You don't have internet. I do not. Yeah. I can't understand because I thought Nigel was a big fan of Paul and Susan. Oh, wait. Okay, so that was a good Tal game that I'd never seen before today. Tal crushing Fischer when Fischer was 16. This was in a book most of you don't know about, My 60 Forgetful Games. I forgot. Not memorable games. Fischer forgot this one. Yeah. All right, so that was a good game by Tal. So go Tal, right? Or go home. Something like that. I can't find, I'm lost. All right, let's look at some more Tal games. That game was too long. Let's look at a game that didn't last very long. Where Tal gives somebody the beat down, then the smackdown. All right, I've seen this game. Tal Smyslov. And I'm going to lecture on Smyslov either tomorrow or the next day, but I'm not going to show this game. Okay? Now, let's see if Archer knows. Obviously, Karen does. It's the only chess question I know Karen knows, and I think Archer doesn't. The only one on Earth. Ready? You can't help.
He might know.
But you can't help.
Okay.
Laughing helps a little. What's my connection to Smyslov?
I think he might know.
He don't look like he knows. There's more than one answer.
He came to your wedding?
Correct. Why is that funny? What's so funny about it?
I knew he was going to know.
What?
Because you told that story. I knew he was going to know.
Yeah, he was at my first wedding. And I also would have accepted the answer that I have a win and a draw against him. I would have accepted that. I drew him in a regular tournament, and I beat him in a simultaneous exhibition. Remember that picture on the wall when I'm 14? That was when I beat him, was during that event. I would have accepted the answers that I beat Smyslov. He was crushing me in the simul, then he sacrificed the exchange for nothing and resigned. It was really weird. He was like, bam! And he's like, I give up. Yeah, it was like he let me win. And then I'm like, all right, if I ever get married, you can go to my wedding. And you know what he said to me?
What?
Which wedding? All right, I was 14. So he was, Okay, so this is Tal Smyslov. People are all saying wedding. Did Tal ever play short? Obviously. Yeah. There was a GM at each of my weddings. At the first wedding, there was Smyslov in short. Possibly Costin was a GM. He might have been an IM. My second wedding was Maurice Ashley, the only GM at my wedding. Who was the only GM at our wedding?
You.
Me. That's right. And I wasn't a GM at the other two weddings. Terrible. Right? And for some reason, Karen, even though she was around, didn't come to my first two weddings. Have you been to England?
Yes.
I know he has. Have you been to England with him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. You ever been to Hastings? Yeah, I got married in Vegas. You haven't been in Vegas in like 35 years?
We tried to go.
But 35 years?
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, could you guys give money to me and Karen so we go to Vegas? We tried to go, but... Yeah. All right. Magnus Carlsen. Were you winning? What? Did Tal ever beat Kasparov? I don't know, probably. Okay, so this is the game Tal Smyslov. From what year, you ask? I mean, nobody asked it. 1959, this is the same year. In fact, this is the same tournament. Damn. I wasn't trying to do that, but not trying is the first step to not failure. Yeah. All right, we have 298 viewers. We're catching the Arena Kings chess stream, which only has 3,200 viewers. We're going to pass them soon if they go off the air. It'll still be a while. Yeah. Okay, so Tal Smyslov. In this game, Smyslov played an unusual move against the Caro-Kann. Now, Archer, if William Shatner was watching this game, what would he say? Khan! Exactly. Okay, and Smyslov played d3. This is not the most aggressive move, but there wasn't a lot of theory in 1959. d5, knight d2. And Smyslov played e5, which gives white a chance to actually play aggressively. And he does. And if I remember correctly, and I don't, I think bishop d6 is the best move. This has been played by Yasser Seirawan on at least one occasion. Plays the Caro-Kann a lot. And instead, Smyslov made a bad move. And I think after this game, people stopped playing this move. I know Karen did. She's like, I'm not playing that move. Knight to d7. Okay, that's a mistake because now white plays an aggressive move that you wouldn't think of. Okay, and this is a psychology in chess that affects a lot of people. Let me give you an example. Let's say your opponent's queen is on d1, and you're like, are they going to play queen c2, queen b3, or queen a4? And they play queen c2. Now, when you analyze the next few moves, you're not looking at queen b3 and queen a4 because they didn't play it, and they could have. So those moves don't occur to you anymore. And this happens to humans all the time. They don't expect moves because those moves already weren't played. You know, a knight could go somewhere and it didn't, so you forget it can go there. Maybe bishop b5 check is a move and your opponent plays bishop e2. Now you're not expecting bishop b5 check. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happened here. Smyslov didn't look at this move, and the engine doesn't care about that. The engine doesn't even know what I'm talking about, which is typical. A lot of people don't either. So since very early in the game, Tal played d3, his opponent's not looking for the move d4. That doesn't make any sense. But d4 is a very strong move because of knight d7 blocking these pieces. Black played a very passive move, and he thought it was going to be a slow, boring positional game, so he didn't care. And Tal's like, oh, let me open that up. So now we have an open center, and then that's no good. Conversely, my pieces are coming alive with the sound of music. Right, Archer? That joke was not see good because it's sound of music.
I don't understand.
Yeah?
Why the knight going to d7?
Well, it's blocking the queen and the bishop, which in turn block the rook. We would prefer our knight to be here, so our bishop and our queen are active.
Well, I see why that's bad, but what did that have to do with d4 being strong?
d4 opens up the center, and now white has threats, and black is passive. Black isn't able to defend because his pieces are all blocked.
Oh.
Now, he obviously didn't expect d4 because white had played d3 earlier, so you're not thinking, got to play d4. And the engine already says white has a very strong advantage. So this is not good. And it's very hard for black to castle either way. Okay, so he took on e4, which is not the best move. Knight takes e4, takes on d4, and queen takes d4. So we have 3 pieces out to 1. 3 is more than 1 with a symmetrical pawn structure. And Tal just keeps developing. Okay, and then he castles queenside. The engine also likes knight d6 check, getting the bishops. And you can see black is very passive and white is very aggressive. Okay, speaking of passive-aggressive, Karen's having a discussion with Archer. All right, now black castled. What's that?
How is that passive-aggressive?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then the engine wants to take on f6, but Tal played knight d6, which is also reasonable. And because of this inaccuracy, knight d6 now instead of before, castles wasn't the best move. Knight d6 wasn't the best move. Now Tal is actually okay, but he blundered in this position and made more than one bad move in a row. Instead of playing h6, the engine move, he played queen a5, attacking the bishop. Obviously, if you play h6, bishop h4, you can't play queen a5 attacking the bishop. Okay? Now, the bishop's defended by the knight, which I just noticed, because I'm good. But he's threatening a2, so he played bishop to c4. And now black's in a lot of trouble, mainly because of what I stated earlier. The rook and the bishop can't move. And now black has to trade pieces. Bishop takes knight, and then knight e4. Trade, trade, trade. It's not good, but it's better than what he did. He blundered with b5. Which famous game that all of you know was b5 a blunder? Anybody other than this game, which you don't know? Yeah, there we go. Hobo Dog got it. The opera game. Remember when those guys played B5 and Morphe just took it? The answer is you don't remember, but you could. Okay, and now Tal forgot that he was Latvian and he retreated like a Frenchman. Bishop D2 exclam. Former muscle. You know, exclam? No? Okay, now he's attacking the queen and there's all kinds of threats. The queen has nowhere to go. Terrible. And the most important idea of bishop to d2, like for me, is the knight has the g5 square. If white is able successfully to play knight g5, f7 is indefensible. Frankly, ridiculous. Exactly. Okay. And Smyslov played the engine move, queen a6. String Dog is rating with a party of 21. Thanks, dog. All right. And now there's only one move that makes any sense, and that would be the move I would recommend, knife f5. Hooray. Okay. The engine actually likes black because the engine's crazy. Bishop d8, that's the correct move. And now Tal realized if he plays passively, he won't have an advantage. Okay, so the engine is looking at all sorts of aggressive moves, like knight takes g7, confusing the engine. I need a better engine. Okay, and Tal did the same. Tal's not retreating his bishop. Did Morphe retreat his bishop after b5? Ish don't think so. Instead, he played queen h4 with the idea of queen g5 and mate. Good idea. Okay, the engine says that's nothing. Takes, queen g5. The engine's like, whatever, care about that. And it plays knight h5, just like Tal did, just like Smyslov did, attacking the queen and defending mate. Knight h6 check, king h8, the only legal move. Queen takes h5. And in this position, once again, Tal made a move the engine said is fine. Queen takes a2, threatening checkmate. Now, if you know the players, Smyslov and Tal, Smyslov likes slow, boring, strategical chess where he eventually outplays you, Karpov style, and Tal likes to sack all his pieces and mate you. So this is a Tal kind of position. The engine says it's equal, but it's much easier to play white because black's pieces are all over here. Terrible. Thanks for the subscription, Pushaz and Libersaleko. You guys are the best. Not as good as String Dog, but I got mad at String Dog once because we were playing poker and he took all my money. He did it the obvious way with a string bet. And they allowed it because he's String Dog. And I said, dog, what are you doing? Right, Archer? Yeah. Okay, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and Tal played the only good move, bishop c3, attacking the king and stopping checkmate. Now, what game today in Paris are you reminded of when you see queen a1 check, king d2? Let's see if anybody in the chat can get it. It was played today, about 8 hours ago. Honky Butt explains what a string bet is. Looks like a copy and paste job. Yeah, it's the game Anand Mamajarov. Correct. Okay, so in this position, Smyslov made the losing move. The engine says bishop f6 and or bishop c7 is equal. Okay, obviously black has many moves that look sort of reasonable or look okay, and he made one of them, knight f6, blocking the bishop and attacking the queen. Okay, and that's a terrible blunder due to a brilliant move that Tal made that I assume Smyslov didn't see. I assume. Picho 1000 subscribed. Oof. Okay, when you see this move, then you'll know what Tal is. Roar. Popezilla is close. His move's actually a mistake. Rook takes d8 is a bad move. Yeah. It's a move, but it's a bad move. After rook takes d8, I would play the Zwischenzug, queen a1 check, then take the rook check on d8, then take your queen on h5. Then you would wonder where your pieces went. I mean, its pandemonium is correct, except he doesn't say which move it is. Yeah, Filevsky's the first to be right. Isaac Love chess is almost in a tie. Queen f7, confusing Karen, but not Archer. Archer's not confused because he's not watching.
I was looking at that move.
Yeah.
I was.
Now, if you take the queen, rook takes d8 check is annoying. Now, you know annoying because you married me. Okay. After queen f7, the engine says black resigns. It says it's over. Okay. Now, it's actually not over, and I had verification from none other than Lenny Kravitz. What did he say to me? Well, he doesn't know. You look at him, he can help.
No, I was looking at him as he was crying.
Yeah. Any idea?
No, I'm not a Kravitz fan.
Yeah, these guys all got
I
it.
had the wrong band.
It ain't over till it's
I
over.
was thinking of the Beds Are Burning. That's not even the right band.
That's Midnight Oil.
I know.
What? All right. It ain't over till it's over. Okay. So the queen takes rook mate is an annoying threat. So he played queen a1 check, which is forced. Then he played, well, he could resign here. He took the queen, check, takes. And here, white's up an exchange for no pawns, and black has a bad pawn structure. So not resigning is mildly insulting. However, some people know the definition of a miniature in chess. That's again, that's 25 moves or less. Then you lost a miniature. So Smyslov resigned on move 26. Was he thinking that? Or was he thinking Arby's? Okay, so for no reason, black kept playing on. Not sure why. And then here he resigned. And it's +5 for white, because it's up a lot of material. Yeah. Lenny Kravitz and Slash went to the same high school. Thank you. American Woman, Yogi Berra. Yeah. Yogi Berra wasn't as good a singer. Yeah. You know what happened when Yogi Berra got hurt playing baseball? He had a boo-boo. Exactly. Yeah. Anybody? You got that?
I think so.
They're not going to get it. They got nothing. All right. What? Yeah, they don't get nothing. Yeah. Yogi Berra used to say things that were funny. One of my favorite Yogi Berra, he says nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. Yeah. That was good. All right. Yeah. Hey, boo boo. That's right. Now in Family Guy, maybe sounds like Family Guy. The Peter just killed Yogi, and that was it. And he told Boo Boo, tell the other bears what you saw here. And then they leave. I'm 49. Are you going to go my way? Tell the other bears what you saw, in quotes. Hobo Dog knows what's up. Yeah. There's an SNL skit from about 20 years ago where all the James Bond villains are sitting around having a discussion. And they're like, look, when you got James Bond, you just kill him. It says, our mistake is we tell him our plans and then he escapes. And they're all shaking their head. Yeah, I did that. Like, you just kill him right away, but we never do that. Now, in The Simpsons, when Homer worked for the supervillain, so James Bond was trying to escape, and Homer, just tripped him and they just shot him. That was it. Yeah, Homer, accidentally, stopped him. Yeah. All right, that was a good game because I said so. Go, Tal until tomorrow when I look at Smyslov beating Tal. Here, look at this. I got a picture of the game. Look at that. Smyslov was taller than Tal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who wasn't? Remember how terrible he looked when he was older, and then he didn't look terrible there because he was younger. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember. Oh yeah, I do remember you showing me that.
Yeah, but here he looks like normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the game. Yeah. See how they're concentrating and my students are always doing this when they're playing? Look at that. Now that's right. You know what he was thinking about then? What he was thinking? He was thinking, I wonder how Ben's wedding is going to be. That's what he was thinking. Yeah. Right, Archer? No. That's a great picture. It's too bad they'll never see it. Okay, we'll look at one more Tal game, and then I'll go home and I'll have some vegan cookies. Yeah, Archer agrees with the vegan cookies. Let's look at a really short game since Tal was short. Right, Archer? Yep. Yeah. Let's see, that guy's no good. Here we go. I like this game because the players are both good and it was a really short game. Yeah. Okay, this is a famous game because of the, well, I won't want to tell you why. But, all right. This was played in 1960. This is the game Tal Najdorf. In what opening? The Najdorf. Bam. Okay. And Najdorf's like, I'm Najdorf. I can play the Najdorf. And Tal said, excellent. I agree. Okay. This was in 1960. And he was a Najdorf Sicilian played by Najdorf himself. A6. Well, he played E6, then A6. Close enough. All right, transposing to the Najdorf. All right, now in this position, if he goes A6, bishop E3, you can play E6 or E5. E5 is the regular Najdorf. But Najdorf was afraid to play the Najdorf against Tal. Yeah. All right. And so nowadays, all the grandmasters play F3, the so-called English attack. But Tal can't play F3 because never play F3. Come on, big donation, no whammy, stop. Ron donated $3. What's the most decent chess tip you've got for me? Play better? If you listen to my advice, that would be good, right, Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Play better. Yeah. One piece of advice: don't play good against me because I don't like losing. Okay, so Tal didn't play F3 because he don't go down like no punk bitch. F4. Okay, then Queen F3. This is how Tal did it. Okay, Tal had somewhere to go, basically the graveyard. So since Tal was always sick, just like Lady Gaga, oh, not Lady Gaga, just like Amy Winehouse. Was it Amy Winehouse? Or was it Lady Gaga? Now I'm confused. Wait, hold on a second. Oh no, it's Hosier. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, Born Sick. That was Hosier. Damn, Take Me to Church. Now, yeah, this guy got it. Yeah, Hosier, yeah. Yeah, Take Me to Church because I like church so much. Archer, which do I dislike more? I actually don't know the answer. I need help from you. Church or Church's fried chicken?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Vote in the chat if I dislike church or Church's fried chicken more. You guys decide for me. I don't know what the answer is. What do you think? Which would I dislike more, church or Church's fried chicken? Yeah, exactly.
Chicken.
Really? I don't like going to church. I've told you this before on the stream, but you guys don't listen to me. You know how like you sense there's an evil presence, like, you know, when I'm streaming, for example? When I go into a church, which I've done many times for chess and bridge, yeah. Chess tournaments, chess camps, bridge tournaments, yeah. And then sometimes in the church, and by sometimes, maybe it's always, there's like a wall with like old scary white men on it. You know what I'm talking about in church? It's like the people who ran the church before.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's evil to me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm scared of that, right? Because I just assume they're all like, you know, rapists and, you know. But I mean, that's like a scary place to me. I don't want to be in like a hallway where there's like 20 scary white guys on the wall that are obviously evil. So I don't like that. So I think I like Church's Fried Chicken more because it's more pleasant. Maybe I could even get the fries. Probably not.
Maybe.
Yeah. Obviously, like religion's evil, but that's like the most evil is that wall of evil people. Yeah. They have that in schools too. Sometimes they like these are the people who ran our school. Also evil, but not as evil as a church, obviously. Yeah. All right.
What?
Yeah. You know, the Goyim attack. Yeah, he's right. Okay. That's what I play against the Israeli players. All right. I don't like to be told when to sit and stand, therefore church is immensely worse. They don't tell you when to sit and stand in Church's Fried Chicken? I never go to Church's Fried Chicken. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, back to which would you rather go to? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So church is such a bad thing that they named Church's Fried Chicken after it because now you guys don't know this except the ones that do. Very few of them do. Church's Fried Chicken was started by Bill Church. Okay. USCF 1900. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And my dad played him in the 62 US Open, and he was passing out coupons for his chicken. He had like 2 of them. Now he's like 2 million. And I was at the 85 US Open in Hollywood, Florida, and he played in that. And he played DeFermian in like round 1. He didn't do well. I think he played the Latvian Gambit. All right. I've never been married to in a Church's Fried Chicken or in a church. Yeah. Okay. You love church. Correct. Okay. Church is evil. What about Church's Fried Chicken? Okay. You were born in Hollywood, Florida? It was at the Diplomat Hotel, which I don't think exists anymore. I don't think so. The 85 US Open. We played tennis every day. It was 100 degrees Celsius and over 100% humidity because it was relative. All those things were lies, but they were sort of funny. Yeah. No, it was 100 degrees outside, and the humidity was about 100. That was the most fun I ever had.
Which part of Florida?
Hollywood, near Miami. Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. All right. Back to the wall. It exists. You were there in November. All right. I played the U.S. Open there in 85. And I played in the Denker, the high school tournament champions. That was the first one, and I came in third. Do you know who was at the Denker tournament? Denker. He was alive. Yeah, he's not as alive now. Okay, so bishop b7, back to the game. Bishop to d3. Look how aggressive Tal is. Are you shocked? Look at that. Knight bd7. Tal short castled. Should have long castled because he's tall. Then he played a3, stopping b4. Then he played queen h3. Now you see all this action over here, Karen? Are you scared? Should be.
Yeah.
Abe Froman 4444 subscribed. How come you're not Afroman? Why are you Abe Froman? He was going to be Afroman, but then what happened? He got high. That's what happened. Yeah. He was going to be Afroman. All right. Yeah, he got it. He didn't spell high right, but he typed it quickly. Okay. So anyway, queen c7, he wasn't afraid. As long as the knight stays there, he won't get mated. Rook ae1, knight c5. Now this pawn's attacked 5 million times. Bishop f2, defending it. Also, bishop comes here, right? Okay. Now, in this position, the engine says black's doing fine. Problem is, black's not an engine, he's a person. Okay? And he played the most super aggressive move, and the computer doesn't like it. It's the move you beg to play in the Sicilian. You always want to play this move. D5. Okay, that's the Sicilian move. And the engine says, no, that's no good. Okay, the engine wants to play h6 so we don't get mated on h7 anymore. You know what I mean? And after d5, and white takes it, we're opening up the latent potential of the bishop, right? Now, Archer doesn't understand that because Archer's going to 5th grade, right? Yeah. So he doesn't have more than an 8th grade education. That's too complicated a joke. Okay, now, Najdorf didn't care. Najdorf's like, I'm not afraid of your bishop because I'm going to take it. It's a good reason, right? Okay. Takes with a pawn. That way his queen is still, he's still doing stuff with his queen. Takes, takes. You can't take with the pawn because of knight f5, but he still took with the pawn. Now, the reason the queen was here instead of taking with the queen is he thought Najdorf would take with the knight, right? And now you play knight e6. That's why his queen's on h3. Because then if you take it, I check, and then I take the knight. And this is better than what he did. This is what Najdorf should have done. It's good for white, but it's not as good as what actually happened because he allowed knight f5. You do anything to avoid knight f5, but he didn't do it. Okay. So d5 is like a losing blunder, terrible move, okay, because of the game. And here, I'm sure Najdorf realized, like, oh, I can't take with the knight because knight takes e6. So he took with the pawn, allowing knight f5. Whew. You don't allow that. Now, obviously, not only is the knight good, but here comes the bishop. So he played bishop c5 to trade pieces. The more pieces you trade, the less you get mated. So who wants to trade pieces, white or black? Black does, because he doesn't want to get checkmated. What move can white make where there is no trading of pieces? There will be no trades. There will be blood. Where's my period? You guys can answer too. Yeah, you're right. You guys are all right. Yeah, you have to stop the bishop trade.
How to stop the bishop?
Yeah, because the bishops are going to get traded, right? We don't want to trade pieces. We want to mate the guy.
I don't know. It's your d4.
D4, right? And then he goes bishop here. He's like, oh boy, I didn't trade my bishop. Now I'm going to give you the smackdown. Okay, now he made another mistake. Well, it doesn't matter. Now he's lost. He played knight e4. Now, Tal was always playing like me. King b1, never play f3, knight f5, right? So if he was on my stream, what move does white have to play here? If it's on my stream, you have to do this. Should we ask Archer?
We'll take.
Yeah, you got to take that. Right. Yeah. Tal knew I was going to stream later. He predicted Twitch would exist. Yeah. And the reason we're doing that, you're sitting down, right?
Yeah.
Watch this next move. Remember when the knight was on e4, but now it's not on e4?
Yeah.
You ready? If there was a knight on e4, it would take that bishop.
Yeah.
Now, white's next move could be the pedestrian queen g4, queen g3, bishop g7, knight g7. Okay. But if I was white, I would play queen h6. And if he takes it, knight takes his mate.
Yes.
If he doesn't take it, then that's mate. So this move wins, this wins, this wins, this wins, and this wins. That's a good exchange sack. Okay. So the only move, according to the engine, is bishop takes d4 check, but white's still winning. He played queen b6. Bishop takes g7. Rook e8. Bishop retreats to e5. Now we're opening up the g line for the queen. Queen g6. Knight check. And then f5. Man, the truth hurts. Can you hear the computer make a noise? Yeah. It's funny, Tal was well known for attacking, and there are a lot of attacking themes, like knight takes e6, and knight f5, and bishop g7, and bishop f6, and then he just wins. His opponents know he's going to do it, he does it anyway. And when Tal was older, he said, I'm a better player now than when I was younger, but I don't win as much because everybody I play knows I'm going to sack on d5 and e6. They're waiting for it. They're not like, oh, no, not that again. So they're like preventing it before he does it. So he has to beat him like in a long game instead of beating him by mating him in 20 moves. Because they're like, oh, he mated me in 20 moves. I'm not going to let that happen again. In the Sicilian, there's a lot of sacrifices on f5, d5, and e6. So they expected Tal would do that. So they would only let him do it if it wasn't good. In the 50s and 60s, he was doing, and they're like, what's he doing? Why is he sacking a piece? They're like, oh, that's why. So even though white's down in exchange here, the engine says white's up 4.6 because black's king is so stupid. He's just getting checkmated. And what's funny is the engine says after this move, the best move is king h1 because you see how the bishop is here? So we're threatening to take the bishop. So it's just king h1 and then rawr, then you just mate him. So anyway, Najdorf just resigned because he was getting embarrassed. He's never been so mad. A variation you'll like, if queen g5, knight takes f7, threatening the queen. And if you take it, here comes, here we come, right? And then never play f6. Michael the Leg subscribed. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. See how the bishop's pinned? Mm-hmm. Right? So you can take this and you can't take back. Right. Now again, the gawking rabble on my stream, when I say like, name some good chess players, they just type Carlsen and they copy and paste Carlsen, right? Mm-hmm. When you see Carlsen's games, you fall asleep, and then when you wake up, he's up a pawn. Then you fall asleep, wake up, he's up 2 pawns. Then you fall asleep, and his opponent offers a draw, he considers it. Then you fall asleep, his opponent loses on time in a worse position. When you look at Tal games and Kasparov games, then he takes all their pieces and they resign. That's the kind of chess I want to see. I want to see a guy get beat the way I got beat by Gerbiali. I want to see that kind of beating. Not like, somehow the guy eventually won. And, man, Tal was good because even though you knew he was going to sack and play super aggressive, you still couldn't stop it. Now, you've heard of Shaq, obviously. Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. Not Mamajarov, which I would have also accepted. When you were in the NBA, you knew Shaq would get the ball down low, throw you to the ground, and then dunk. You knew that was going to happen. Then he did it. Then you're like, damn. So that's when you know a guy is good. He has one move. He does it every time, and you can't stop him. That's a good player, right? And then when Shaq was old, and he's like, my foot hurts, then no good anymore because he couldn't move anymore. He's a big guy. But when he could move...
He would throw somebody to the ground?
Yeah, ask the chat. Yeah, I can show you a video if you want.
No, I just...
There's a video where he dunks the ball and then throws the guy to the ground after. And then when he's running down the court, the guy takes the ball and throws it at Shaq. And the guy gets called for a penalty because he threw the ball at Shaq. He just threw the guy to the ground and the referee's like, all right. Yeah, he's Shaq. What are you going to do? You call foul on Shaq? What if he gets mad at you? The referee's like, not doing that. Yeah. Yeah, he'd pull down the basket, too. The whole thing would come crazy. Yeah, I can show you that, too. Yeah, so you're like, oh, well, I guess he's going to win. Yeah. Yeah, ask the chat. They'll be like, yeah, I saw Shaq do that. That was his signature move, is he threw you to the ground and dunked. And you're like, all right, that's what am I going to do? Yeah. It says all the backboards he broke early in his career, they had to fix it so they couldn't break him anymore. Because when he hung on the backboard, it destroyed it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, this is funny. When Shaq makes commercials now, they show like this beautiful sculpted body, but you never see Shaq's face because Shaq's just fat. Then you see Shaq with clothes on. He's like, yeah, buy this, whatever I'm selling. Then they show some like guy and they're putting like whatever Shaq is selling. It's obviously not him because it's like perfectly sculpted body. Then they show Shaq with clothes on. Hey, buy this. Whenever you see a body, they never show Shaq's face because, it's not looking good. Yeah. Shaq wasn't always 150 pounds overweight, but he could run back and forth. Now he can't move at all. No, Shaq was thinner when he was like in his 20s, and now he's, man. Yeah, that's a really funny video when he throws the guy to the ground, and the guy takes the ball and throws it at Shaq, and they call the penalty on the guy who threw the ball. That was funny. Yeah. Anyway, go Shaq. Okay, so now we have to raid somebody. I'm going to say Japanese tutor?
No.
Karen says no. Also, I want to thank somebody who donated $40 about 6 hours ago when I wasn't streaming. Thank you. I think their name was somebody. Yeah. Here's 2 minutes of Shaq breaking backboards. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really nobody.
Rate somebody who has a 0 viewers.
Well, Japanese tutor has 13. I've rated him before.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to raid somebody who says click, click, click into the, kidding me? Let's see, I can't spell Japanese or tutor. Is it tutor like Tudor? No. All right. Moobot time people. Anyway, thanks for watching as per usual, and thanks for watching Karen's stream and so on, mainly and so on. We still got a couple of hours in because Karen streamed before I did. Okay, so you have to watch her stream also. And then tomorrow, probably I'll do Smyslov. Just don't tell my wife. 300 centidues, my first donation today. Thank you. Thanks, Born in Oz. Yeah. I don't know if it was educational, but yeah. Blah, blah, blah. It's 4:40. I work at 6. 4:40. Where is it 4:40? Are you in Russia somewhere? Where's it 4:40? It's got to be Russia. Are you in Russia? I'm trying to figure out where in the world it's 4:40. Spain? It's not 4:40 in Spain. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's 6 hours. I can't count. Oh, it is 4:40 in Spain. Oh, okay. Yeah, in Russia it's like 6:40. Yeah. All right, you got me. Yeah. Century of I can't do math. Yeah. South Africa, ridiculous. Frankly, Novi Sad. I was in Novi Sad before you were born. Let's ask Karen. What year was I in Novi Sad?
I don't even know where Novi Sad.
That was my next question. Where's Novi Sad?
What year? I'll say 1970.
How old do you think I am?
Wait a minute.
No, 1990. I was there for the chess Olympiad. It was there in 1990. I was the Belgian women's team captain.
Oh, yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
You were what?
The Belgian women's team captain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I made sure their board one was specially prepared. Also, it was in Yugoslavia, but then they changed the name of the country, so now I think it's not in a country. I just make a joke and I say it's either in Croatia or the other one, Serbia, and then they all get mad at me. Right? Like to you, Serbia and Croatia is the same because you don't care. But to them, nothing matters more than separating Serbia and Croatia. That's the only thing that matters.
I don't say they're the same.
Yeah, but to me they're the same. It's just people who are tall and play good chess. Yeah. They get really mad. They're like, no, Serbia, don't you understand? Now, the Serbians are probably taller than the Croatians, but Croatia's probably better at chess. Also, I'm mad at both of you guys because Ivan Ivanisevic destroyed me in Chicago. He's either Serbian or Croatian. Nobody knows. I asked him, he's like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, also from Prussia. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Serbian, yeah, man, he crushed me. That was embarrassing. Yeah. Also, they're tall. Not like Mikhail, like short.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.
Gracie.